Welcome back to the next section of Traefik Training. In this section, we're going to cover Router and Services Lab. This is where the fun really starts because we're going to start exploring how adding these labels actually directly impact what happens in Traefik. So join me as we start the lab. Now, again, the lab is contained in the GitHub repo, so Traefik Training. If you scroll down, you'll see we're in section 3, so Traffic Routing and Load Balancing section. We'll open that up and scroll down. So we're going to deploy a traffic router, service, and load balancer step by step. What does that mean? So we're going to deploy traffic together with the catapp, but the catapp is not going to be enabled initially. So we're going to enable the catapp as you see here, and then we're going to slowly start enabling labels as we goes down. So we can understand exactly what each label does within Traefik, and then we're going to break some things and learn how to troubleshoot in the next lab. Let's get started. Head over to our command prompt. And here in the 03 routing and load balancing directory, if you ls, we have a few files. So we can see the Traefik YAML sets up our static configuration. We don't need to touch that. Then our Docker Compose is where we're going to be doing all our work. And if you get stuck anywhere during the lab, I've actually created a Docker Compose answers YAML. And this provides you exactly what it should look like a working solution. So don't visit that yet, please, only if you get stuck. So let's take a look at the Docker Compose, Docker Compose.yaml, and we open that up and we go down to the catapp service section. As you see, everything is commented out. So we only have the catapp and the image running, and all the labels are commented out. So Traefik shouldn't know anything about this container, hypothetically. And Traefik is still configured as previous, so we haven't made any changes from the previous lab except for the fact that we're just using the default names now, Traefik YAML and Traefik YAML. So let's exit out of here. And before we begin, it's very important to remove anything that might be running. So Docker stack, and we're gonna rm Traefik. Now, the Traefik name is actually a user-defined name. So if you define your user stack name as something else, please use your defined name here. Go ahead and Docker stack rm Traefik, and that should remove everything. Just run it a couple times. It'll take a couple of seconds for it to remove everything, as it takes a while for it to actually clean out what's happening. Now that we have it removed, it takes a second. We still have to wait a moment. There we go. Nothing found in stack. So now we can deploy Docker with Traefik and the catapp. But as I said before, we're deploying Traefik with a catapp with no labels. So go ahead and go Docker stack deploy -c Docker Compose YAML Traefik. So essentially we're deploying the Docker Compose file we looked at with no labels in the catapp. So go ahead and deploy that, and you see it's deploying the Traefik default network, it's deploying the Traefik service and the Traefik catapp. To see if it's actually running, you can do Docker service ls. And you can see the Traefik service is running as well as our cat application. So both of them. I said that backwards, but the catapp is here, the Traefik is here. Now we can actually head back to the dashboard of Traefik. So go ahead and open up the dashboard, 0.0.0.0, port 8080, open that up, and we are live within our dashboard. All right, so if we go down to routers, if you look here, there's no catapp router. If we go to services, there is no catapp service. So from Traefik's perspective, this cat application doesn't exist. And that's because there's no labels assigned. And since we're using Docker Swarm, we can actually make changes and keep deploying. So we don't have to remove things. So go into the Docker Compose file. Now scroll down the Docker Compose file down to find the cat application. Now you see at the very bottom here, we have the catapp service, we have the catapp, and the image. And everything else is commented out. So we have labels and all the different labels. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna uncomment the first two labels and ensure you delete the comment so the labels is in line with the image and the minus is in line with the B. Then it should be good. So what happens here is we're enabling labels on this container, and we are enabling the Traefik enable equals true. And if you remember, we set the static configuration to default allow applications to be deployed, and this overrides that. So this basically tells Traefik to force the enablement of this container and start using Traefik to start routing traffic to this container. This is the only comment we're going to uncomment at this point. So go ahead and save that file. And now we are going to redeploy it. So docker stack deploy. Let's see, docker compose YAML Traefik. So you see it's updating the cat application and Traefik. So it realizes some changes happen in Docker Swarm. Let's head back over to our dashboard. And here's our dashboard now. And now we see exactly what's happening with our dashboard. And now you see there's 4 services available. And here we go. 4 services, and if I click on routers first, so open up the dashboard and then scroll down, and then you can see routers. So if we click on routers, now we have a catapp actually router, and you can see it's automatically defined a route for us. So it's created its own host, and over here you can see the name and the service. So it's pre-populated a bunch of things for us, but it's not the names or routers or service names we want to use. So if we click into this, you can see the router is some randomly generated name. So you see the rule is that here. So I don't know if that'll work or not. Let's try it quickly. No, it doesn't work. And then the name of it, and then entry points by default, it uses all entry points available, and then the service. If we click on the service, you can see it is indeed having a load balancer. It's using the provider, and the status you can see here is connecting to the container port 5000. So it is doing things, and it also notices that it's connected to this router. However, it's not how we intended. So it is Traefik did see the container started recognizing that it needs to start doing things with it, but it doesn't know what else to do. So that's why we need to continue adding more labels to tell Traefik specifically what we want to do with this service. Let's head back over to our Docker Compose file. And now we head back onto the catapp service. And now we're going to actually enable, so you can enable the router's catapp rules. So we're going to enable the local host. So we're actually going to give it a URL to this service. We are also going to define exactly what entry point we want to use. We want to use the entry point web. And we want to also enable the catapp service. So we want to name our service catapp. And that is all we want to enable at the moment. So we are enabling the host. So we're giving it a host name, catapp.localhost. We only want to use web, which is HTTP port 80. And we're going to name our service catapp. So go ahead and save that. And again, we wanted to redeploy it. So the catapp is running again. And if we head back over to our dashboard, it'll take a moment for it to recognize these changes. It takes a couple of minutes because Docker is actually deploying the service and updating things. So it takes a while for Traefik to actually see it happening. And since it's happening locally, it takes a bit longer because I don't have as much resources as I would in the cloud. All right, so you can see right away, yes, we have an error. That's not good. Let's look quickly at what's going on here. Oh, our router has an error. But if you see catapp.localhost, it has the correct host name. The name of our router is catapp@docker, and the service is catapp. So it looks all correct. Now, if we go into this and, oh, that doesn't look good. Now, if we try to open the catapp localhost, 404 page not found. So we were able to actually configure Traefik with the labels and understand what's going on, but now we hit an issue. And the issue is it's not configured correctly. And in the next section, we're actually going to debug why this happened and understand how to fix it, and then go actually apply the changes to fix it. So join me in the troubleshooting lab where we actually explore how to fix the troubles we have with the router, understand the debug logs, understand how to fix it through the dashboard, so either way, and then we apply the changes and we actually have our catapp running again. So join me in the next section where we fix our application.